I mean,
People don't want to hear that in their ears as soon as they.
okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to From the Ground Up podcast. Thank you so much for being here. And we had the camera stuck on
On
Austin, of
Austin.
course. Way to go, guys. First time. He is showing off our beautiful
Well, it doesn't make
new.
sense now that he's not on there. Do you want me to put it back on him?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Here is Austin Warrick sporting our fundraising Dry Marcon shirt. All the proceeds are going to be going to the OCIC. So $12 a shirt. The other $8 is the cost of us manufacturing it. Other than that, it will go right to your house, and $12 go to the OCIC. And they will be on sale until May 1st. So get them while you can, and hopefully we can raise a lot of money for a great cause. And if you want to hear more about the OCIC, you can check out our podcast with the director, Michelle Hoffman, who was on just a few episodes ago. And portcitypythons.com. You can check out, we don't have animals available, but we do have other shirts available. But more importantly, go check out the fundraising shirt. Other than that, do we have anything to get to? portcitypythons.com.
We're going to White Plains.
We are going to White Plains this weekend. If you guys are going to be there, feel free to hit us up. That's this Sunday, correct?
Yeah.
All right. This Sunday, White Plains. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. So Austin has been on the podcast before. He was probably one of our first interviews at all, let alone in person. So Austin keeps a bunch of different pythons, most notably Morelia breadlie, as well as the Papuan python or the Apodora Papuana, right? I didn't mess that up, Austin.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Sweet.
Right. Yeah, I keep quite a few things. Mostly Morelia breadlie, like you said. Got some inlands that I'm raising up. They should honestly be larger than they are right now, but I got kind of when I purchased them, it was I think I bought they're 16s, and so that was like the first year that I produced breadlie, and so that kind of took the forefront of my I guess breeding and everything that was going on. I was real busy with the baby breadlie, and I kind of slacked off in feeding the inlands. They should really be going this next season, but it's not going to be till the 2020 season that they'll go. So.
And what age will those be in 2020?
So they're 16, so by the time they'll be almost 4.5 by the time that I'm going to have them going. Which I slow grow all my stuff anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's still, I'm like, I look how big they are. I'm like, man, this is not the like even for me that slow grows. I'm like, man, these should be a lot larger than you are. But they're fine. They're healthy. They're doing all right. They're just a year behind schedule, you know.
So is that something to where like you won't pair them up, or will you pair them just for shits and gigs to see if anything happens, but you don't expect anything?
No, I think a year ago, if you asked me that, I said yeah. I paired my Brisbane's last year, and obviously there were some extenuating circumstances, but I did that at 3.5 years. They're both 3.5 years old, and she slugged out. Now my male had got injured. I had to pull him, kind of not mid-season. I'd say like on that last quarter of the copulation season, which would be probably like end of March. I would say is whenever I was seeing locks, and I had to pull him because he ended up busting his tail up, and I could see bone, and I just wasn't comfortable leaving him in there and stressing him. And she ended up slugging out, and I don't know if it was just because he didn't get the job done, or I didn't leave him in there long enough, or they may have just been a little too young, or he was a little too young. But I really think for the most part, females about 3.5 to 4 years old. So I'm not going to do that with the inlands just because they're probably going to be so small. And now I'll cycle them just like I cycle all my adults this next season, but they won't get paired. I'm not going to do that, probably. But that's one that. Go ahead, sorry.
That Brisbane male, did he heal up fine?
Yeah, he's fine. I just put him in a tub and rub betadine on it like once every 2 days, and it healed up. And I mean, it was broken. Like it was at a 90-degree angle when I saw it. Just complete. It was pretty nasty, but it healed up, and he's got fully. It functioned completely. So. got a little.
So was that like below the hemipenes, or
Yeah,
I mean,
it was like the last inch and a half of his tail. I thought for a little bit because it kind of turned and discolored real bad, and I thought that I was going to end up having to clip it off, and it would have been kind of messed up, but it ended up healing up all right. So I didn't want to clip it off. I was like, man, I've never had to do anything like that. I mean, I'll do it, but obviously, if it's necrotic, it needs to go. But I didn't end up having to do that. So, but it was a wash. I think she laid about 19. They weren't like your typical slug that's yellow. They were actually like calcified slugs. So I think
Whoa.
he was ready to go, and he just didn't get the job done, honestly. But
so what are you doing this year? Are you pairing those guys up together again?
yeah, I'm actually they're to the right of me right here. They're paired up. I've seen a few locks. She's still eating voraciously, so I mean she's swelling pretty good right now. But I mean I don't really have any. I don't think it's going to turn out this year, honestly, with them, which really bums me out because it's a project I've had since 2014, and I've been raising them forever, and I'm just like, God dang. You know?
How do you say? Because I mean, obviously you got pretty close last year. What do you think is, or how can you say that you're not going to do well this year?
Well, I just like at the beginning of the season, I saw him with her a lot, and every time I come in here now, they're on opposite ends of the cage. I don't know if he intimidates her or she intimidates him, and he's just scared of her because I'm pretty sure she's the one that injured him last year. She's pretty feisty. She is not a she's not a relaxed snake at all. So I mean, he's pretty chill, but she's not. So I don't know if he's just like intimidated by her or what, but we'll see. Maybe give it another year, or who knows? I might get lucky, and I just haven't seen the locks, and it's been happening. I'm only in here in the evening, so.
I mean, it must be egg season for you guys, for Morelia guys all over the place.
Yeah, I see a lot with me doing a lot of the spring breeder stuff. All my stuff is so much later than everybody else's. I usually don't get eggs until like June, so.
Shit, we may be getting eggs in June. With it feels like our corns. We're so behind.
Well, I mean, it's kind of similar, honestly. Like corns are spring breeders, so the time frame kind of matches up. You know, I don't breed. I mean, Brisbane's are coastals, but they're the more southern ranging coastals. So I think that they cycle a little bit later. At least that was what happened last year. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing and hopefully not having to pull my male again, you know, and hoping for the best. I'm pretty confident that my Harris line female is going to go. I wasn't going to pair. I wasn't going to do a repeat pairing, but I sold out of all my Brettles babies. So there's obviously a decent demand for them. So I decided to go ahead and put my Forest line male with my Harris girl again. And I've got this pairing down here, which is a LASIK line female that's really pretty cool. She's like 50-50 split, like black, like it's dark black on her backside, which usually it's that last third instead of 50% of the snake. And then the front half of her is just like a solid brick red. She's got some pretty nice even banding. So I'm hoping if he could sire both, that's probably what that'll be great, you know, just so I could see kind of like some contrast in these babies with the same dad, but different moms kind of look different. I can pick and choose. Also, next year, what's really exciting is my holdbacks for my 2016 clutch they'll be of breeding size, so it'll be cool to breed some of my own stuff. I feel like that's a real big like benchmark, you know, like
definitely
keeps you like it makes it. You're not a flash in the pot anymore. You know what I mean? Like you've been around long enough you're in that second generation, and like I don't know, I just think it's really cool.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, but I could imagine. Yeah, that's like saying that being multi-generational is just a testament to you. Not only the longevity of keeping the snakes. Obviously, it takes probably 5 to 6 years to do it if you're really lucky. And then on the other hand, it's like you stuck with this project in general, like not even just reptiles, but that project in general. Because like it's sad that not everyone, once you breed one snake, you may not keep that interest. I don't know.
But I don't know. At the same time, I feel like we've been doing it for a little bit, but we haven't gotten
because I haven't been focused. That's my issue.
And just you got to keep them and raise them up. And
I've been moving, and then I'm like, oh, we can get rid of that baby, and then I never really kept one when I should have just kept that one the whole time.
What I've messed up with is like I've got a male holdback from that clutch too, and he's pretty good looking. He's not as good looking as the female, and I don't know what the deal is, but so I've bred this pair twice, and both times all of the stunners, like all the ones that look fantastic, are all female. And like there's like one or two males that are like above average, but they're not anything like, oh man, that's crazy. And so I've got a holdback from the 17 clutch, and I've got a holdback over here from the 16 clutch. His name's Scorn, because since he came out of the egg, that mother, he doesn't like me. He's so mean. I mean, he's just one of those snakes that's just never going to calm down. He's just super wild, but he's the prettiest of the males. So I'm going to go ahead and raise him up and put him to his sister and see what comes out,
Is there a snake that you've sold that you like have seen updated pictures that you wish you could have back?
Yeah, Casey Cannon has one of mine from that 2016 clutch that I was on the fence about putting it available, and I did, and I gave him first dibs just because me and him have similar interests as far as the bredli and kind of outcrossing some of the lines and seeing what pops up, And I went ahead and let him have first dibs, and I just threw her up, and then I've seen her since then, and I'm like, God dang, dude. I definitely, that's some seller's remorse for sure. But other than that, I feel like I've got a pretty good eye for it now since I've done it a couple times. And I didn't let anything go last year to anybody that like anything that I thought was amazing to anybody that I couldn't get a hold of later. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
I think everyone does that, to where you try to, even though you're selling something, when you're selling something that you don't want to, you sell it somewhere close so that it can always come back to you.
If you need it.
Or just somebody that is chill, even if it's across the country, that like if they ever have babies, you'll be on that list if you want or need them, Like you definitely got to keep tabs on that, and that's something was a learning experience. I didn't start doing that until my 2017 clutch, so it was just something you got to kind of pay attention to. And I don't know, that you hear it on podcasts, but whenever it's you don't think to do it. You hear people say you need to make sure that you keep track of where your babies go, because you never know what'll happen. It's true, you need to, I think.
And then it's like babies can end up where you're just so surprised. You're like, oh, I didn't know you had that guy, and it changed hands like 2 times already, and you're like, what the hell's going on?
And then like also people have stuff like, say that snake that Casey Cannon's got of mine, she's a stunner, and I've got pictures of her when she was a baby. I would say don't ever get rid of your pictures of your neonates, because you can always find the code from that snake, go back and reference what that baby looked like. So when you do a repeat pairing, you'd be like, oh, these are the little things that I need to look for whenever I'm picking my holdbacks. You know what I mean?
Do you have,
yeah, I was going to say, like, there must be certain characteristics to where, I mean, you can tell what's going to be a good one and not a good. It's not like you're going to have an ugly baby that turns into this beautiful animal, but maybe you oversaw like some little detail, or like what exactly do you think it was?
Like there's like this blushing that I'm getting out of that Harris and a Forest cross that I wasn't quite sure of what it was whenever it first popped up. And bredli are really hard when they're babies, because they come out and they're just like gray. They're just this gray wash banded little neonate. And even after like their first 2 sheds, you really can't tell. I typically try to hold on to mine before I offer them for sale for like a year, just because it's so hard to see what's going to happen with them. And they're weird. Like you'll have them for 6 months and they all look the same, and they're all just kind of like little banded mud snakes, and then they shed out, and then all of a sudden you'll just start seeing this blushing that's like coming up in between the bands. And when they get older, it turns into this, like, I've got a couple of them that it's almost like a light reddy pink kind of color. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of an interesting red pink color. And it's something you got to learn like as you're doing it. It's not something that someone can tell you. It's you kind of just see the little things that pop up, and you see like, oh, well, that means that it's going to be real clear black around that banding, and that's what I'm breeding for. So I need to keep an eye on that snake and see what's going to happen in the next couple of sheds.
So you're pretty much just trying to get more black when most people are trying to get less black.
Well, it's not necessarily more black. I'm trying to define the black that's around the banding. I don't want the black to like blow out into the red. But I don't want that red coming into the banding. I'm going for like a high definition, really clean. I don't want any like what is it? What the hell you call it?
Like muddying?
Yeah, like it's not mud. What is it with jungles? What do they call it? Where like the yellows and the
tipping?
Black? Tipping. There you go.
Yeah.
I couldn't the word. There'll be like sometimes like red tipping in that black outline that's around the banding, and I don't want that. I'm trying to make a very, very clean, just high contrast animal that is like it's a wild type looking animal, but just enhanced a little bit. I'm not trying to get rid. A lot of people want to get rid of all the black and just see the red and stuff. I think the black is really cool. I just want to clean it up a little bit. You know what I mean?
I think it's kind of crazy when we went over is that like the fact that you seem to constantly have like a wall of last year's babies that you're growing up. Like how long are you trying to hold them back?
Like a year, man. Like I would say
you said that already.
Say like 10 months to a year. And typically by then I've got a decent enough eye now to where like by 10 months to a year, I'm like, okay, I want this one and this one. The rest of them are gone. You know what I mean? So, and then it takes a whole nother year to sell all of them. I mean, you guys know how sitting on babies is, but,
right.
And like, I've gotten a little bit more, a little better at marketing and stuff like that. And I don't slam my prices down or anything like that, but they're at a nice, I would say like a competitive mark. I know what I have, and there's certain animals that are a little bit better than others, and I'll mark those up higher than them. It's not just like like a species standard, and all my bredli are 225. You know what I mean? It depends on how good they look as well.
So after that year, do you have like a number you kind of want to keep? Like something you don't want to go past of holdbacks. Like, do you have a number? Like, okay, I'm going to limit myself to this, because I think that's something we might need to come up with in the future.
No, I think we gave away too many this year. But
yeah, I'll keep back everything.
Question. This next, I've got a propensity of making two different clutches, same father. For the Harris line clutch, because I have holdbacks from them now and I'm already growing them up, unless something comes out that's just insane, I won't be keeping any of those because I've got plenty of it. Now this, I try to do at least a pair, I would say, unless there's just like, if there's like 4 of them that are just kind of crazy, I'd probably keep all the crazy ones back. But usually in a clutch of 20 to 30, you have like 2 or 3 that are just outrageous, and so I guess it depends on what I already have. Like I won't keep anything from that pairing just because I already have 3 animals and I can make more if I ever need to. I know that there's things that happen like snake die and stuff like that, but I feel like I've got a decent amount of that stock already that I'm not worried about it. And I also know people with it, so if something happens, I could get some. And with this, I'm just kind of seeing what pops out. With her being real high black, and him being a 4s, which is a more of a burnt orange and a more red, or a higher like orange red animal. I'm hoping that combination can enhance the black a little bit and then bring some more of his red into it. So we'll see. It's kind of just like I'm throwing paint at the wall with that one. So see what pops out. It may just all look average, but you got to try it or else you don't know. So.
Yeah, and I think it's that you're not reproducing something that everyone reproduces. So even if you aren't getting your highest or breeding to your highest standard, it's still an animal that's needed out there on the market. There's not a surplus of bredli, really.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. not worry about that. Like, so with this pairing up here, I took a year off because I still had some babies lingering around from the 2017, and I'm a big. I believe that if you've already got stuff still sitting around from the year before, you should really think about whether you should be breeding it again. Like, if the stuff's not sold, which I had probably 10 babies still, and my female had maternally incubated, and I was just like, she can have a year off. I don't need any more babies. They're not flying off the shelf. And so I took a full year off. I didn't produce anything. I tried the Brisbanes last year, and I did produce the corn snakes, the one you have, but I failed with the Brisbanes. But I don't know. I just don't think that if you have this surplus of animals, why do you continue to like push them out there? It doesn't make any sense. Plus, it's a lot of stress on the animals that are producing them. So.
And where are you even trying to aim as far as, because holdbacks, obviously there's only so much room and stuff like that you can take up.
Yeah. As far as like, I'm kind of at the point where after this pairing, and I hold back one or two, I'm done with holding back bredli. Because I've got so much other stuff that I'm going to have to hold back. I've got the Brisbanes, and then inlands are coming up, and then I've got poplin pythons that, if by some stroke of the gods I could reproduce, you better believe I'm probably not giving a lot or selling a lot of those. It's probably not going to happen, at least not the first time. But it's just I may end up extending my snake room. You guys have been in here to the full garage.
Whoa!
Definitely not off of the table because we don't use it anyway. It's I use it for a workshop, but that's about it. So, and then adding on to the front of our house and extending that out and actually building a garage so we can pull our cars into, and this just being a whole snake room. It just depends on, what we've got going on and how rapidly I need to expand. You know what I mean? So
if you get poplins, basically,
yeah, that's pretty
walls
much
are coming down.
If I get poplins, walls are coming down for sure.
So will you be able to do your ASFs and all your snakes in the same room if you do that?
Hold on one second. My Bluetooth just died. I thought I had it charged. My bad.
We can hear you pretty well, honestly.
You can hear me?
Now there's an echo. Never mind. Never mind. At first there was no echo, but then there was.
I tried. Sorry, guys.
No, but I'm proud of you for having another pair literally in your back pocket.
Always prepared. All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is that better?
Yes. So will you be able to do your ASFs and all your other snakes in the same room if you do expand?
That's a negative. Definitely not. I will be building a shed outside for the rats or something. I've kind of figured them out. I've been keeping those damn things for, I think, almost 5 years. I've had an ASF colony, and I was doing really good in the beginning, and then it kind of dumped off. I had, I think, 5 bins, and it was all from the same stock. So I think they got a little bit genetically depressed. And so this year I ended up throwing some new blood in there, and I changed their diet up. I was just feeding them some greens and sunflower seeds and I wasn't using a lot of the rodent pellet stuff just because it's really hard to get down here for where I'm at for some reason. And so I decided to up the rodent pellet stuff, which they don't eat a lot of, but it's nice to have there when they want it, And I'm using wild bird seed, and then and I'm mixing long cut oats like you would feed a horse in with all that. And since I've done that dietary shift and I've added some new blood to the colony, I've had a lot of reproduction. I just had to cull 40 of them 2 days ago just to because they were getting it was too much. There's too many of them. I had to cull them and throw them in the freezer. So
I don't remember. Do you feed a lot of those to your collection?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of varied diets, man. Like I feed everything. I've got ASFs, which is nice because I can supplement my feeder bill, and it's a lot cheaper. And then I always buy quail. I do chicken, rats, mice, Reptiles when I have the money to buy them, and stuff like that. Which I like Reptiles a lot. It just gets a little pricey for the big snakes, but.
I've never heard the term genetically depressed before.
That just means that they're inbreeding a lot.
I get it, but I had never heard it before. It's funny. Also, little sidetrack, but I want to talk about that. If you guys know Ezra I don't know his last name, like
McDougal, yeah. Yes. I know
Ezra McDougal on Facebook, he posted recently, like asking like, what are your feeder bills? And that was one of the most interesting snake-related posts I've ever seen. Probably because I'm so psycho about like how much we spend on our
She
food.
thinks that we're like the end of the world. We're at like
I mean, it gets expensive, man. It gets expensive.
I kept thinking, after, so we sold all our snakes pretty much. I'm like, oh, okay, we probably, made like a decent little bit of money. But when I think about how much we've spent on food, I'm like, no, there's no way we made any money. I'm like, we definitely are still in the negatives. Even though we had probably 80 snakes this year, I still think
Dude, you're letting out all the secrets for the new breeders.
We're still in the negatives. But it was so interesting to see that post. Now, obviously, everyone who commented has different snakes, but I think there was one person who said they spend like $2,000 a month.
Yeah, if I ever got to that level, my wife would probably castrate me. It would not be a good deal. It would be really, really, really bad. No, I'm telling you, like, I would say I usually do 2 big orders a year of frozen stuff, which is like quail, whatever, all that stuff. And then I supplement with ASFs, and each of my orders is between $600 and $700. And I usually do one in like December and one in July or something like that.
That's not bad.
No, it's like $1,400, and then add like another probably $200 to $300 in feed for the so like just about $2,000 a year, I would say, in food, which sounds outrageous.
That sounds much more.
Like it sounds outrageous for like, I guess some of the people that listen, that are just hot, like low, like they keep like 5 snakes. That's crazy, but it's really not that bad considering like how large are some of the animals I keep and what they require to live and reproduce and stuff. I think it's not too bad. So.
Yeah, especially for, I mean, I guess you're lucky that Morelia can take big meals not very often, or just not meals very sparsely in general. But
once they get to adult size, yeah, it's pretty much maintenance until like pre and then right in the middle of breeding season for my females, just because they're spring breeders. And I feel like I've had a lot of success with doing the whole, like I've got most of my animals in a cycle now in my room, which is nice, where I'm by October, Halloween is the last time I feed anything. And then like anything pretty much, the pop ones, I'll throw a couple meals to them like every now and then, but their food tapers down quite a bit too. I let November, everything is cleaning out, temps are the same. And then December, I start to lower temps for about a week in the snake room, and then everything gets moved out in the garage, and they get a 6-hour heat lamp, and then they get whatever temperature it is in that garage for the next 2 months, during the night. So, and it seems to be working for me pretty well. But I mean, food cycling I think is an important thing, and when I bring them back out, I always offer a small meal and then like a little bit of a larger meal. And I'll offer meals to my females until they show me that they don't want anything and they're gonna lay eggs. Pretty much, that's what I do.
So during that time, are you having to cull a lot more of your ASS just because you're feeding so much less?
Well, in the wintertime, because they are in my garage and it gets a little chilly in there. I run a space heater in there by the ASFs to kind of break the chill. They're a warm climate species, and so they really slow down in the reproduction in the wintertime. I'll get like a litter every now and then, but in the spring and then in the fall, they really ramp it up. And so that's kind of when you want to put the food to them like crazy so that you can put stuff in the freezers for those slow times, you know?
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's when, I mean, we have the same thing is we're getting ready to breed. Now we need so many rodents. I'm feeding females like twice a week. Craziness. But
yeah.
But I mean, it's really, if you sell snakes, you make it back. You may not make much on top of
well,
that.
it's do you make, like, you'll make it back, but are you spending it on your rodents or are you spending it on other shit? You know what I mean? Which all of us have a problem with that, and that's actually something.
We're buying snakes when we just got the snake money, forgetting that we're not going to be selling snakes in January, February, and then that's when we're going to have to pay all the rodent bills.
Yep.
So, only saying that because we've done it.
But again, at least we're not as bad as some people. Like Bill Steele said he spends $400 a week. I guess that's less than the other person.
Well, he's got a lot of animals, though. Like,
I forget how much he has in there.
So big. He's got a lot. I mean, and it's not just in the garage. I mean, it's up in. He's got that whole other room upstairs. You know, he's got a lot of animals.
I forgot about that. I was just thinking about the outhouse. Yeah, an outhouse. I don't even know what you call that.
It was a garage. I think he converted it.
That makes it
detached
sound
garage,
so...
I believe it would be called.
Okay, there you go. But yeah, like, so I should stop getting on you because people spend a lot more, but it just pains me.
I mean, because we never really have to go to rats except for our pythons, and that's and the pines.
We still have to buy pinkies and stuff.
Yeah.
How's your guys' colony going?
The mice are doing good, man. I have really just one colony that keeps on laying. Mm-hmm. The others are still kind of growing up. They're all products of that colony.
Okay.
I was keeping a separate one, but they just started kind of randomly dying off.
Oh, I didn't know.
I don't know. Well, one dropped dead, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to feed these off. One dropped dead, and then another one did, but I think they fought I don't know. I think they killed the other one because I just threw it in there. I don't know. Yeah,
that's unfortunately a normal thing. At least with ASFs, it's usually the females killing the males. A lot of times, like the ASFs, the males they'll breed for a while, but then they just get fat, and then they don't, like, you'll be going in your drawers and you're looking at them, you're like, dude, what is... you guys are making all these babies for 2 months and then nothing. And the females have good weight, and then you look at the male, and he's so big you can't even see his nuts in the back, and you're like, oh, well, I need to put a new male in there because he's getting fat and lazy, you know. But a lot of times you put a new male in there, and then the females aren't used to him. They'll chase him out, and if you don't get him out of there, they'll end up killing him. You go in there the next day, and there's like a half-eaten rat in there.
Wow,
they're pretty savage.
Savages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez. Ryan Cox asked, what's your opinion on the fat content of ASFs?
They're definitely, sorry, go ahead.
No, he just said, he said he knows that some people say they only offer them on occasion.
Yeah, like I said, I offer varied diets for all my stuff. Like, I'm not strictly just feeding ASFs because they are. I mean, it's the rodent equivalent to a stick of butter. Like, they're very, very, very fatty, but that's good, like, for your breeding females and stuff like that. It's a lot of nutrients. So I wouldn't say I only feed them on occasion. It's definitely a staple in my room, but it's maybe every third or fourth feeding. You know, it's not all the time. Now I do have. My Brisbanes are pretty much hooked on ASFs, and they'll eat like quail and stuff every once in a while. But if you throw like a European rat in there, they're like, "What is this shit? Get this away from me! I don't want this." So I do have one pair that are pretty stuck on them, but I would say that's not typically the norm. All my other stuff I can feed them other stuff, and it's no big deal. So
yeah, I don't know if people realize at first how important it is to switch up as far as you can utilize the fat content in the prey that you're giving during certain times of the year. So obviously right out of brumation, once we build them up to adult mice, we go small mice and medium mice and adult mice. And then if a female's still a little bit lean, you'll hit them with a small rat, and then that will usually get them up a lot quicker. And if they don't need that, then just keep them on mice or something like that. So I'm sure there's an equivalent to that with pythons, that you do as far as fat content goes.
Yeah, and also like a young ASF isn't really that fat. Like they only get real fatty. I would say for the most part, the adult breeders, yeah, they're super super fatty. But like I'm calling them at like what you would call probably not a breeder mouse, but like a large mouse, not quite that fat extra jumbo mouse, but just a skosh under that is pretty much what I'm whacking them on the head and tossing them in the freezer at. So they're not very chunky at that point. They're still kind of a lean rodent. But if you let them get to like a full, big, mature animal, yeah, they're a really, really fatty animal. It's like a hamster. They look like a hamster with a rat tail.
Whoa. That's pretty chunk.
Yeah.
They look aggressive. They seem.
Well, I had pretty much bred all the aggression out of my colony until I put this new blood in there. And one of the females I got, she was an adult when I got her, and she's just hyper aggressive. But I needed that new blood to kind of get things going, and she's still alive in there. And when I have people, when I go out of town or whatever, to take care of the rats, I'm like, hey, this bin, get the stick. Like, don't open that bin. She'll come out and bite the crap out of you. Like, she's aggressive as hell. She's right there. She knows when you come into the room, and she sits up right underneath the wood so you can't see her. But her nose is like right at the edge of the black like cement mixing tub, and you go to pull it out, and she like hungry hippos your ass like, and it's not pleasant. So she'll be getting cold here pretty soon. She's about to the point of being retired, but I was kind of forced to use her because I needed the new blood, and so now I'll have to start when I see aggressive animals, I'll just start having to kill them and get that out of there. But I would say like a lot of my old stock is really chill. You could pick them up and they won't do anything. They're not going to bite you or anything. They get a really bad rap, and some of it's justified, but I think just like anything, you can breed it out, so.
And they're supposed to be like less smelly alternative, right, as far as rodents go? Or?
I can tell you that I've been in a lot of rodent rooms.
Oh, sorry, Austin. You were just muted for a second.
Because Joe is ridiculous.
Am I good? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
I can tell you I've been in a lot of rodent rooms, and like I would say mice are probably the worst in my opinion, like as far as smell, just because of the urea. Like that is a pretty rough smell. Rats are pretty gross too. And usually anybody that I've talked to says they clean once a week typically. And I can get away with not cleaning the ASFs for 2 weeks before I'm like, I'll walk into the garage and I'm like, oh, it kind of smells like rats in here. I should clean, Whereas if you did that with a mouse colony, you'd be like, this is rancid. Like it's. I would say they're much cleaner. They have a little area that they use as a latrine. They go to the bathroom in one spot in the tub and stuff like that. So I haven't kept anything else. I've only been around people that keep them, and I can tell you that they definitely, even at their foulest, don't smell as foul as some of the other rodents.
Yeah, I think even just at on a small scale, like where we both simply pretty much just have one rack that has.
I've got two, but yeah, I'm breeding for myself essentially. I'm not breeding for any kind of mass production for anybody else.
Yeah, we have.
Have you built yours or did you buy yours?
Someone built them and I bought them. I didn't feel like doing it. Usually, you guys know me, I build all my stuff, but I didn't feel like messing with that, honestly.
Gotcha. We need another one. I just was trying to see if it's cheaper to build it.
Well,
I think it's a wash, honestly. Like I picked mine up for $210, and that was for two of them. And if you go to build two of them, you're probably going to spend about $210 on materials. So it just depends. If you can get a good enough deal and pick one up that someone already made, I'd say do that because it's a lot less work for yourself. But
yeah, I think I paid 80 or something for hours, and it was like if I parted it out, it would have been like $120 or something if I decided to build it myself. So
really?
And I don't have to waste my time.
2x4 screwed together?
It's they can be as complex as you want them to be. Like this one has separated, like the water mesh and where the food goes. If that makes any sense, it has like that. It has wood that basically partitions.
I could show you guys mine if you want to see it. I'll show it to you what I got.
Go for it. while we're walking, Evan wants me to tell you that he will help you build your extended
for male
snake
sexual
room.
favors.
No, for breadlie.
I mean, I heard you. Just give me a second to reply, but yeah. So I'll show you the mean female. Give me a second. She's right here. She's freaking waiting for me. You see her right there? She will bite the crap out of you. And then there's a little baby right there. But yeah, I mean, and I've got mine set up in it's a bucket that's all got the water tubes fed down and all that stuff.
That's so smart. How often do you have to replace that bucket or fill up that bucket?
I usually it's never empty when I replace it. I just replace it when I clean. So once every 2 weeks. It's a 2.5 gallon bucket, and I replace it whenever I clean, and even if it's not like super dirty, I'll just go ahead and replace it, just because fresh water is good for everything, right? Even our rodents. So I don't know, man. I dig it. I was before I did the new blood and changed their diet up, and they really weren't producing. I was almost done. I was almost just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I've been doing it for 5 years and they're not breeding anymore. And I almost gave up, and I said, let me give it one more shot and just try a couple new things. And if it doesn't work, then I'll get rid of them, and it ended up working. So we'll just keep going, I guess.
5 more years.
That's talking about building stuff, but the cages behind you, obviously you built all of those.
Mm-hmm.
So what is kind of the connection between why do you like to build a lot of your own stuff?
The manly man.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. I like building my own stuff because I like building stuff a lot. Like, I enjoy the process, plus it's got a nice furniture finish, it doesn't look like a PVC cage, but there's nothing wrong with them. I like the way that looks too. But this is like my place I go to chill, and I want it to look how I want it to look. And so I like building, and I like being able to dictate exactly the way I want it to look on the inside, the things I want to offer the animal. Yeah, and it's I would say it's just a little bit cheaper, not very much. It's a little bit cheaper and a hell of a lot faster. That's really what it is. It's a speed thing. I can't wait 6 months to get a damn cage. I'm not doing that shit. Sorry, but that's one of the things that frustrates the hell out of me is the lead times on these cages, because that they're making money hand over fist. Like, those cages are expensive. And you'd think hey, let's invest a little bit more into another CNC machine, maybe crank out a few more of these things.
Press an extra button every once in a while.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on? But it's just a speed thing, really. That's probably the number one reason. I want it, and I want it now. And usually I'm getting animals, and I need to build something real quick, and I can put one of these together in a week, whereas you got to wait, at the minimum 2 weeks for something if you're lucky, So now there's certain things that I would buy over build. I'm not a big fan of building rack systems. I don't like it. It's too finicky. It has to be too right. I'm worried snakes are going to get out. Exactly. And so this wall across from me, which is the wall that's built that splits my garage, I'm actually about to move the pop-on cages on that wall up against the exterior garage door that's all insulated and stuff. And this whole wall is going to be nothing but hatchling and grow out racks, and I will be buying those just because they're a little bit more readily available. The lead time's not as long, and it's a lot less hassle for me, But as far as big cages, I really like building them, and it's a lot faster. So that's pretty much it.
Does that mean you have to give up on the couch?
Yeah, the couch is gone. Unfortunately, it's going to have to leave. I'm at the point of I had to choose Pop Ones or the couch, and Pop Ones won, honestly. So.
Oh, it's such a hangout spot, though. I love your snake room.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring a chair in here, and hell, if I end up knocking the wall out. The couch may come back. I'm not getting rid of it, but it's not going to be in here anymore, which sucks because it's such a comfortable couch. It's like from 1972, and it's like it absorbs you, and you're just like pass out in there. It's nice.
Yeah, I think that's like one of my favorite things is that you have a very man cave snake room.
Yeah, you definitely combine the two.
Yeah, that's my spot. This is where I come to get my head right, you know. Sometimes you got to do that, and this is my spot. Everything else in my house is the female domain. I've got two daughters.
Besides the backyard, man.
Well, yeah, but that's like a farm. That's like where I have to go to do work. That's not. That's like cleaning chicken shit and dealing with bees and all that stuff. What's up with the new
bees? Yeah, tell us about this. What got you inspired to do this?
My grandfather, since I was a little kid, he had chickens and he always had bees, and so I kind of grew up around it. And when I went up there last summer, he's like, "Hey, I made you something." And he made me a hive. He made me a bee box, and it was obviously too late in the season. You have to get bees in the spring. So I had to like sit with this bee box in my backyard for a whole year, just looking at it like, man, I wish I had some bees. And I finally pulled the trigger in December, and I got, a lot of people keep Italian bees, which is a more common bee to keep. I got these ones that are, they're called buckfast bees, and they're a little bit more expensive, but they're a hardier bee. And, they were developed by like monks in the UK and stuff, so it's kind of got a cool story. But they're not really aggressive. They're pretty chill bees, and we'll see. It's just kind of a new thing. I'm gonna test it out. I got my hands in all kinds of stuff. I don't like being bored, so I get a little stir crazy. So I gotta have 20 things. I gotta have a lot of plates spinning at one time, or else I'll go crazy.
Do you have a bee suit?
I have a bee like half suit. I don't have pants, but I've got like from the waist up. I just wear like my work pants from Duluth that are real thick. And as long as you're not dealing with like aggressive ass bees, they're not trying to mess with you. So I mean, you can walk around them with nothing on as long as you're not beating on the bee box. You can just walk around. They're not gonna sting you or anything as long as you're leaving them alone. But you go in there without one on and you're like moving stuff around, you might get whacked a couple times. I went in there 2 days ago, and so I just got them like a week ago. But I went in there 2 days ago to refill all their feed and stuff, and I put this new like pollen supplements to help them build up their honeycombs and stuff in there. And I got them pretty pissed off, and they were like kamikaze whacking into the side of the bee net and like whack, whack, like they were hitting me hard. I was like, man, I'm glad I have this thing on because I definitely would be getting stung right now. But
how do you even feed bees? What do you feed them?
You get like cane sugar, and you do a 50-50 ratio, and so you get a big pot and you put however much water to however much sugar you do 50-50, and you not quite boiling, but you kind of get it to where it's almost boiling and get all the sugar dissolved and let it cool down. And you get jars and you fill them up with it, twist the lid on, and you have small little holes and just flip them upside down inside the bee box, and it creates a vacuum. So it's just like a little drip, and they go up there and they eat it or bring it down to the hive and stuff. And you don't have to do that all the time. Just when you're establishing them, it's a nice little supplement to make it so it's easier for them to build their hive and stuff.
Do you need to make sure that you have a queen or something like that? Like, how does the hierarchy work?
Yeah, you have a queen. So it's mailed to you in like it's called a nuc, and it's this box that's probably like a foot by 10 inches by 10 inches, and there's 500 bees in it, and then there's a queen in a little box that's like the size of a Bic lighter, and you staple that box on the inside of the hive, and then you shake all the bees into the hive, and you let her stay in the box for like 2 days so that the bees get used to her because they've never been around her besides being shipped. So what they do is they take a queen from one hive, and then they'll take 500 bees from another, stick them in a box, and send them to you. And so they're not used to her being your queen, so you got to give them a couple days, or their queen, so you got to give them a couple days to like get used to it. Then you go back in there and pop the cork on the end of the queen box, and she'll come out, and they usually clip her wings, and then they mark her with a color for whatever the year is. So there's a color
this
that
fucking Lion King, dude? What are you explaining right now? What the fuck?
This is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. But I think it's gonna be cool to have my own honey and stuff. I think it'd be pretty neat.
I just imagine her like walking out of the thing and they all part ways.
Yeah, it just takes some time for them to get used to her. Really, is all it is. But
shipping bees sounds like such a difficult task to me. It probably isn't. I'm just thinking of it way too much. But I'm just like getting them in a. How do you get them easily in a box? Like
it's a wood frame. It's a wood frame box, and it's got like a mesh netting, so it's all like open to the air. So it's kind of weird calling it a box. It would be like a screen.
Like this, and
sometimes they ship like crickets in those, like things
like
that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like that, but it's a little bit more sturdy because if it opens up, that UPS dude's gonna be pissed the fuck off,
right?
But so I opened the door. He knocked on the door and set it on my step, and he goes, "Hey man, I got your bees." Like what the? He looked at me like, "What the fuck?" But yeah.
I'd be so pissed.
Like, yeah, I always kind of bitch at FedEx people, like they mishandle reptiles and stuff like that. But if they feel the same way about, I mean, some people probably think the same way about bees as they do reptiles and vice versa. So.
Imagine being the UPS guy that like goes into work and you're like crazy allergic to bees, and you're like, "Fuck, this is in my truck today." Come on, guys.
Like there's no filtering if you have a bee allergy or not. You're getting that package of bees.
Exactly. What did you say Evan said? I forgot to hit on that. What did you say he said whenever I was walking into the rats?
He would help you expand your snake room, and he'll work for Breadlie Babies.
Yeah, we could maybe work something out. That'd be all right. And he's been talking a lot. He's talked to me about it quite a few times, but getting some Breadlie.
And then earlier, Brandon Wheeler commented and said you have a very nice beard there, and asked if you have to flat iron it to get it looking so good.
Nope.
You made it sound a lot creepier than his intention in the comment. I need to make that clear.
No, I don't flat iron it.
Well, how should I have said
You put it across like he was hitting on Austin.
I thought it was funny.
Or I know Brandon. I know he's not hitting on me. I just take really hot showers, and it like makes it kind of not be all frizzy, and then I put a bunch of beard oil in it and then comb it and brush it out. That's all I do.
The more you know.
Yeah. Now I have seen those. Have you seen those brushes that are like a heated brush that dudes are using on their beard to like make it longer? I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Weren't you like growing a beard to be manly, and now you're flat ironing it?
Yeah. I just grew a beard because I didn't want to shave anymore after I got out of the Navy.
And then you changed your name to Rage Beard Reptiles, and now you have to have a beard forever.
Yeah, exactly. It's never going anywhere, which I don't think bald head and no beard with my face structure would look very good. So, yeah.
Have you ever rocked just beard and no mustache?
No, because I'm not Amish.
Yeah, if you want to look like a fucking weirdo real quick, why don't you just get rid of the whole beard and put the mutton chops into the fucking mustache while you're at it?
But no, I like my mustache a lot, but I don't think I would get rid of it.
How can I repel Katie to the nth degree?
Yeah, she would. If I shaved my mustache and just had a beard, she'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?"
I just want to know what it would look like. I'm very interested.
I would look like I should be driving a covered wagon with some donkeys pulling it.
Hey man, you can move like a few miles away from here.
Oh yeah, you guys got a lot of those up there, right?
A lot of those.
Not exactly in Philly, but yeah, those.
But not too far away.
Don't worry, my buddy.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
My buddy lives up in. I got a Navy buddy lives up in Pittsburgh, and there's a lot of them like up north around there, and like in the West Virginia area and stuff. And you just be driving around, and you're like, "What the hell? Oh, damn, there's an Amish person. Never seen one of those in my life before. But yeah, I'm gonna try to come up that way. I think maybe for Carpet Fest. I don't know. We'll see.
So many people coming up, man. It would be crazy.
You guys got anybody staying with you?
Ryan Cox is so far.
That's
it.
the only
I call dibs if I come up. I'm
for
coming up there. I'm staying with you guys because I don't want to pay for a hotel and I want to hang. So
definitely, we got the space. We actually have a house-ish now. It's exciting.
You can sleep in a snake room, which I'm sure you don't have an issue with.
No,
besides the 80-degree one over there.
No.
Yeah, I don't want that one. I don't want that one.
Our stairs are also like a fucking death wish. So. Just good luck anyone ever getting up and down the stairs.
Yeah, we've tripped up our stairs multiple times.
Are you guys in an actual house now, or what?
We're in a row house.
Okay.
So I mean, it's like half a house. I don't know.
It's 3 bedrooms, 2 snake.
What? 3 Philly-sized bedrooms.
It's a lot better than an apartment, right?
It's like the same shit, different place.
Honestly,
we have more space here.
But then
that's pretty much what I was getting at.
Because our bedrooms were bigger in the other one, and our bathrooms were bigger. But
it's just like it's Philly, so it's built in like before 1920. So everything's a little off. Like they don't really have standard sizes for stuff, so that's why the stairs are extremely short, and like the doors are crooked and
the bed what we're in right now is supposed to be a bedroom, and it's definitely smaller than your snake room. Like,
oh damn! I mean, my snake room's not tiny, but yeah, damn.
I also dropped a snake and it just went crawling into a crack that I didn't know existed because there's cracks everywhere.
Yeah, the floor and the molding
between the floorboard and
and then there's holes and it's old.
There's holes I didn't know existed until they were brought to my attention.
Go through it.
So I had one of those corns that I produced last year, which I was a little irritated with. It was a pretty cool motley. It was a butter motley, and my wife Katie came in here, and she started talking to me while I'm like trying to assist feed this snake, and it like flails, and I'm like, it's just because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. It hits the ground, I see it, and I swear to God, the damn thing disappeared. It was just gone. I'm like pulling furniture out. I'm like, where the hell did this thing go? And like 2 months later, I look, and I've got that the insulation on my garage, the foil stuff, the bubble stuff. I look on the tape, and I'm like, oh, there's a petrified corn snake stuck on the tape of my, and it's just like mummified, perfect, red. Like I was mad, but I mean, shit happens, right? So
especially, I don't know, like. There's probably other people who understand, but like the small snakes, man, you got 100 of them, and just the possibility if we had this Everglades jump out, and then just like it's like he was abducted from an alien ship. He just he floated into the heater of all things, never to be fucking seen.
Yep, it's weird, man.
How?
I had this one, so I hadn't, that wall that I've got that where all my babies are, the little alcove that sticks in. So I didn't have that whole wall sealed. There's just like this tiny little crack where the drywall met the wood paneling. And it was like a year ago, I was feeding neonates bread lye, and I turned around to grab like a spray bottle to clean the cage. I turned back, and its head's like in the crack. And and I'm like, oh hell no! And I grab its tail, and I'm like holding on to it. The thing's like fighting me. I'm trying not to hurt it, and I'm just like, just give up, man. Just quit twisting your neck and just give up. It was like seriously like 35 minutes of me just holding this little baby snake. I wasn't pulling on it or anything, just waiting for it to like just get exhausted essentially, and like, and finally it happened. But it was just 35 minutes of me looking like an asshole because I didn't seal that gap on my wall. And yeah, lesson learned though. It's sealed now. So
we should probably do that. Just go around molding and seal everything. But then I'm like,
but I can't
this place. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to.
I'm gonna go around with a cop gun, just filling up everything.
At least in your snake rooms, it may not be a big deal. Caulk's pretty cheap, so I mean.
But it's like even like cracks in the fucking wood floor and like. Some real sketchy.
It's very interesting. It's just old. And the owners here just like have no concern for it. You know how most places when you move out, they're like, oh, you have to fill all the holes in the walls and everything to make it look better. No shot. No shot. There's holes everywhere. And when we moved in, we were like, oh yes, like we get a basement, so much storage. Half the basement, literally half the basement is filled with old people's shit.
What?
Like,
and they just leave it there?
Just left there. Yep.
Did you go through it and find some cool treasure?
I was about to say, now some things have worked out.
There's like a dude's high school ring. That's about it.
No, we got that window unit, the window AC unit we got from down there. I feel like we got like a
random like furniture, like a couple chairs, some lights.
Right, random.
Hey, man.
It's weird.
Backyard furniture.
Yeah, the
shed,
fucking chainsaw, the shed back there completely full. We got so much random. So it's like it's been good, but also like, what the hell? Why would you just leave this? And it's the owner just doesn't give a shit. He's like, oh, it'll be there for the next person. Just leaves it all.
That's crazy, man. That's insane.
Yeah.
So and then is that the same place that you first? Is that the initial place you guys moved into?
No.
Okay. I knew that there was some shit with that, but I didn't know if you guys had just decided to stay or what.
We would not be having this podcast if we had decided.
The sirens coming through.
No, we would not. I'm saying we wouldn't be alive. That's a stretch.
Is it pretty rough? Pretty rough.
I only got threatened with violence once with a weapon.
But you were there for 3 days?
Yeah, just 3 to 5 days somewhere.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
It was.
But you guys got into that place sight unseen, didn't you?
Yep, never again.
Yeah.
I seen the site then. It wasn't good.
I literally once I got up here, like my mom and I drove down the street. We're like, oh my god, no. Like wouldn't have worked for a day.
There's just trash all over.
I mean, the corner is a like empty lot, and
so if people don't know, we got an apartment. We lived in Texas, and then we moved to Philly, and then we basically got a house on a row that was controlled by a crack boss named Big Daddy. Well, his name wasn't really Big Daddy, but I named his name Big Daddy because I like it. And then his helper used to sweep the sidewalks, and I used to call him Crazy Eddie. And Crazy Eddie had a boil on his neck.
Oh, man.
Sometime liquids would protrude
from it. Yuck.
And he decided to ask me if I had any poisonous reptiles for him to keep. And nah. That was when I was leaving, but it was an experience. That was like literally within 5 days, man. We were gone. We got this place, and
that's good, man. That's good.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I was freaking out, like, because she wasn't here yet, and I had to be here. And
I mean, he drove 22 hours to get here, moved into this place, and he was exhausted after that, and he still was like, I don't know if
I had to call her and be like, I don't know what I do here. Like, I'm not a call the cops kind of person. That seems like a bad idea. And then you guys were like, call the cops. And then I must have been tired. So that's why I did. Otherwise, I would not have done that. That's the worst thing to do.
I told you to call the cops.
Immediately put me on the radar. And that's why I was threatened with gun violence. Because 50% of murders in Philadelphia are unsolved. And they figured they'd play the fucking odds. Are you sure about
that statistic?
100%. Google.
So what you're telling me is it looked like the outskirts of New Orleans, is what you're telling me.
It looked like if the outskirts of New Orleans took a shit.
It was, but damn. In New Orleans, people are not so brazen as they are here. But that's across Philly. People are very bold. Like in New Orleans, I would not walk around and just see like kids.
You can do some weird shit.
Yeah,
here without getting noticed.
They're a lot more bolden out there. In New Orleans, crack house, but it doesn't come outside the crack house usually.
Okay, that's fair.
Our crack houses are more spill into the streets.
Now
here.
Where we live, it's a much better area filled with old people who yell at me about my parking and about us picking up the dog poop in our own backyard.
People who can't mind their fucking business.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's nuts. That's part of the reason I want to move out of where I'm at and just move into get some land. I don't like everybody.
Imagine if we had fucking chickens.
But you have the best neighbor.
Oh, well, yeah, I've got one awesome neighbor that's like family, but I'll just take him with me, make him move out there. We'll buy a big plot of land together, and he can have a house on one side and I'll have a house on the other.
So if people don't know, Austin and his neighbor, they pretty much like just keep an open fence policy between their yards, and like random dogs will come in from the neighbor, and they just kind of share each other's stuff.
Yeah. We're like family. They're really good people. He's actually he's part owner of the Poplin project that I've got going on.
And he's the owner of a door that you should be careful when you're walking through it when you're driving.
Oh my God. You should tell that story.
I'm surprised I even said anything. I mean,
I didn't even remember it.
You forgot. Oh, you forget everything. It was Austin's. What was it for?
It was literally like a year ago.
Was it your graduation party?
Yeah, when I graduated. Yeah.
It was Austin's graduation party. Someone made some really good sangria. I don't know.
It was Diana, Doug's wife, my neighbor's wife.
And shots were involved, and there was a sliding glass door.
And she straight up full speed walked into it. Just the damn glass went wah 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 wah.
Like you could hear the whole party could hear it.
Everyone turned and looked at me. Everyone.
Like there was no slowdown. Yeah, nose is bleeding. Yeah. It was good.
God, I didn't get 2 black eyes.
I'm glad that the glass didn't break and it wasn't worse than it was. Like that you didn't.
Cried so much. Like
I wasn't sure if
I'd be cried if I'd broken the glass. Like would have. Oh, I would have been so embarrassed.
I don't know if I would. You have been more. Oh wow! So Harper apparently, which is Austin's daughter.
Oh hey, Katie.
She remembered that out of everything.
Harper.
Yeah.
You're pretty much just the girl who ran into the glass door to Harper. That's pretty much.
Wow, I thought we spent a lot more memorable times together, but okay.
That's a pretty memorable event, I think.
That's pretty much it.
But yeah.
That was pretty good. But you know what's funny? Total side story. I just have to say this. My school that I work at is new, and we recently had our inspection or whatever to get fully whatever I would just say we're a school and everything. And one of the violations we got was that we have 2 doors in our school that are mostly windows and just trimmed around wood. Mm-hmm. And supposedly in schools, if you have doors like that, you have to have a piece of paper on the door to show kids that it's a door, and so that they don't try to walk through it.
Oh,
I'm also looking for
ridiculous that we got a violation for that, and that we equate children to drunk adults or birds.
I mean, a child is kind of like a drunk adult. I mean,
if I'm looking for a preschool, I want it to have closed walls. I don't want windows from ceiling to the floor. Get the fuck out of here. I want my kid in the basement somewhere playing with Legos. I don't want him out on display for all the weirdos down in fucking Bella Vista where your school is.
Yeah, but I just thought that was
so
funny.
Violation for
that's the only time I've run into a sliding glass door, and I hope it will be the last.
You gotta as far as running into sliding glass doors, you got a 10 out of 10. I don't
unless you broke the glass like Shaq. That would be
that'd be worse.
That'd be clear.
It was just the right amount of funny and pain.
That's
it
true.
wasn't too much pain or disaster.
Yeah, I think it was perfect. I don't know that it could have been any better than that. Because if it would have broke, I would have been really scared for your safety, because I'm sure that that's not safety glass. Our houses are built in 1950, so probably
there's asbestos in between the panes.
Probably could have cut your nose off or something. So.
And we would have been drunk, and then we would have tried to do something about it and try to fix it or do. It would have been terrible.
It would have been a bad deal. What?
More about our parties.
My way of saying we miss you, and we wish we lived closer to Dallas still.
Yeah, I miss you guys too. So it's Katie. We talk about you guys quite a bit. You want to talk about Pop One Pythons?
Do we have to? I guess. So you just got a new pair. Well,
yeah. Well, I got 2 females because one of the males that I picked up 2 years ago, or one of the females I picked up 2 years ago, started blowing sperm plugs all over the place in December. So I've got a giant male and then a 2-year-old male that's CBB, and then I picked up a female that's about 2 years old from a show. She was in pretty rough shape. It was at a importer at whatever table, and she was like, skin was like, you know how their skin looks all like weird, like that weird sheen that it gets, and you can tell this animal is like dehydrated as hell, you know. And so I picked her up for I think $600, and I knew that I was probably gonna have to spend another $400 just to get her like squared away. Got her through the deworming process, and then she ended up getting a respiratory infection and had to take her to the vet. And then right around $300-$400 later, she seems to be doing well now. And then I picked up a long-term captive female from Kevin Walensky, who bred the captive-born bred male, and she'll be here tomorrow. So I've got to do some cage building this weekend.
So is he producing them on a consistent basis?
No, he's produced eggs twice, as far as I know. The first time it was a failure. I don't think they made it I don't think that they made it through incubation, and then or he was there a day late or something like that after they had laid. It was something like that. The eggs just didn't make it. And then the second time, I think he said they laid like between 10 or 12, and then like 4 of them passed, and he got the 8, or I think it was like 8. He got 8 out of that clutch, and that's what my male is. And he tried to put that same male and female together not this season, but the season before last, and she attacked him and wasn't having anything to do with it. And if you know about Apodora, they eat each other. So he had to get involved, and I'm sure with how strong they are, that was not a fun thing at all. I don't know.
Imagine.
I mean, they're strong. Like, they're so strong, and I can't even, like, trying to separate 2 of them. You'd have to just spray them down with rubbing alcohol or something. I don't know, because you're not going to try to pull them off of each other. It's not going to happen.
And even there's such a high possibility of you getting hurt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, in that particular situation, I don't know that I'd be thinking about myself too much. I'd be like, no, don't kill each other.
Years of hard work.
Yeah. I picked up that female kind of like, I knew that it was going to be not the long-term captive, but the one at the show, just because you don't see them, you know. And I feel like if you're getting into this stuff, you kind of should know, like, hey, I'm going to have to be taking this thing to a vet probably, especially in the shape she was in. She was severely dehydrated. I soaked her and all that stuff. And she's been feeding, even through her respiratory infection, fed like a champ, just like crazy. But and I got I got a culture done, and it was nothing in her lower respiratory tract. It was all up in the like sinuses and stuff. So I lucked out with that. I'm happy about that. She's kind of bounced back. I named her Rita Ballou.
I don't know the reference.
Yeah, me either.
Rita Ballou is it's a Guy Clark country song, or it's a character from a country song, and it's a really like super Texas like honky tonky song, and I just kind of thought it was cool. So,
have you ever heard?
Wow, that's over our heads.
Yeah, we don't do country too hard.
No, I know.
He barely does it.
I could delve into it, but I don't know any Guy Clark.
I didn't know Guy Clark until I started hanging out with Doug, and he introduced him to me. I didn't know him either. So
there you go. Some validation that I'm not the worst.
I'm being bad about staying on track this episode, but it's okay because Austin's our friend. I have to bring up this song that Joe was listening to the other day called Snake Farm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is one of the most ridiculous songs
I've
ever heard.
Super ridiculous.
He was like in the shower, like singing it along with it, like so into it. And I will open the door to the bathroom. I'm like, what the hell are you listening to?
It's a mixture between it's like such a silly song, but such a good song.
Yeah.
Such a silly song at the same time.
No, 90% silly song.
It's definitely a silly song, but it's funny. They play it on the radio sometimes. I've heard it on the radio.
Really?
Yeah, definitely nowhere besides Texas, though. I've never heard it anywhere besides here. So
yeah, I don't think so.
Because it's so ridiculous. Why
it's super ridiculous.
I wish we had like a switchboard and one of the buttons was Snake
Farm. So we could just play Snake Farm right now.
You should figure it out. That should be a goal by the end of this year. You should figure that shit out.
Should that be our intro song? Snake Farm?
Yeah, that's the worst.
Okay, sorry. It's a little tangent. You can get back to actual
that was
snakes
good.
now.
That was good.
Pythons.
I recently picked up a male Amazon Tree Boa.
Ooh,
yeah, it's a red phase. His body's red. His head's kind of like a light orange. So I don't know, but seems to be doing pretty well. He's super not a you don't touch. He's not a handleable snake at all. He'll shit all over you and bite you. But he's pretty cool though. I've got him in a display cage in my living room. Katie allows that because he's pretty.
You had him like where the emerald was?
Yeah, the emerald was in a tub like inside that enclosure, but yeah, that same little box that I built for the emerald that didn't ever work out. So super pissed off about that.
I mean, yeah.
I was super pissed off about that. But what do you expect, right?
Do you have any? I want to talk about the Amazon, but do you ever want to get another emerald?
Oh, definitely, it's gonna happen.
Or do you want it to be a basin?
It'll be a basin. My goal is to hopefully reproduce poplins and then use the money that I get from some of the poplins to buy into a basin project. I like caninus, but it's just I don't know. They're just that whole regurg syndrome shit is it's annoying.
Real, man. It's
super annoying. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's beat your head against the wall, like piss you off annoying. But I still like them, and I'm not saying I wouldn't keep caninus. It would have to be captive born and bred if I ever did it again. But definitely not another wild caught. You know, I got that one, and it was pretty good for. I mean, when you guys saw it, it was still very healthy. It was handling meals, and then it just like what they say, freaking like 3 months into having it, all of a sudden, bleh, and then it puked for like 8 months. I tried all kinds of different stuff, and I just went in there one day, and it was rolled upside down off the perch and dead. So, yeah, I guess that's part of it. It's really irritating, though.
I guess, but yeah, that sucks that it's like something that is so commonly seen, yet completely misunderstood, at least as far as like, does anyone have any idea what caused it and how to treat it?
Avian chlamydia is what it is, and it's a lot of importers feed these little baby snakes. They'll be importing birds and stuff, and if a bird dies, they'll feed it to the snake because waste not, want not, right? Well, that's where they get it from. At least, and I have a very rudimentary understanding of it. I just from speaking to Harlan Wall over the phone, he helped me try to get her sorted out, and it's like a 20% chance that if you treat them the way that he talked to me about treating them, that they'll even bounce back. You know, he was very helpful, but I mean, it's just a snake to snake basis. Some of them can handle and bounce back, and some of them they're just destined for the trash. You know, I mean. Is
it just some type of crazy regimen of antibiotics or what is it?
Yeah, it's antibiotics and like probiotics, and it's every single day, and it's tubes down their throat, and it's not fun. I mean, just the stress alone without the stress of shoving a tube down the animal's throat every single day. It's just, I mean, you almost are surprised that there's even a 20% survival rate, you know, so. But yeah. It was
That's shitty.
Yeah, it was sucky because she was really cool, man. She was a really, really high white Caninus. I was really pumped to get her, but I'll delve back into them eventually. Right now, I'm gonna get a female Amazon. I want to get a tiger just because they're badass. But I need to get a female, and so I'll probably be snagging one of those up here this year at some point. They're not too expensive. Is the one you just
got an import?
Yeah, it's an import. But I dewormed him, and he didn't have any mites. I treated for all that stuff. He's in the house, so he's not with the collection. But at this point, since I bought him, if I wanted to bring him in here, I would clear him for being in the collection. But he's a display animal, so we're gonna leave him in the living room for now.
But they're just cool animals to be on display.
Yeah, they're cool to look at. They're just not a handleable. I mean, I've seen people that have them that are pretty mellow and you can handle them and stuff. I really think it just stresses them out to a crazy degree to handle them. Honestly, I don't think it's good for them. So
honestly, even the people that I've seen that claim that they handle theirs, it's like they have them in their hand and they're still in the S'd up position, just facing the other way.
Yeah.
This is me holding my Amazon Tree Boa. I'm like, well, this isn't really the normal pet relationship you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you make a false move, that motherfucker's gonna take that bird right out of the sky, no matter if it's your fucking nose or your fingers, whatever goes in front of it. But
yeah, they're very very movement sensitive. I've noticed it's any kind of movement, just wham, wham. Mine's in shed right now. It's the first shed he's had with me. He had a real long shed cycle. I was really surprised at how long it took for him to shed, and I've had him for so this is like 2 months. I've had him for 2 months now, and he's just now going into shed, and he feeds every week, so I don't know. Maybe they just have real high metabolisms. This is my first one, so I'm kind of learning a little bit with it, How's yours? Is yours acclimated and all pretty chill, or no? Not chill.
Well, not chill, but it's hard because like with the shed thing, ours is like a garden phase, but it's got like this bluish hue to it. It looks like it's always in shed, so I never really know. But it is. Today he was out during the day for some reason, so I fed him today and he ate. Most of the time he hides 100% during the day. Then we turn the light off, and if we're in there watching TV late enough, he'll come out and start hanging out and climb all around. Like pretty much no matter what, though, they move around every day.
Yeah, mine's always in a different spot. It's always in a different spot.
Really?
I've got some pothos plants in there, and so sometimes they'll be in that corrugated tube that I've got hanging off the perch, and then sometimes he's on the perch right underneath the heat panel, and sometimes he's all up in the pothos where you can barely see him. They're pretty active. I'd agree with you. They're pretty active snakes.
Yeah, I feel like ours goes to the same spot 90% of the time.
The hide tends to stay similar, but
no, he goes to the top right. That's mostly where he hangs out in that perch top right.
Okay, but if I feed him in a different spot, say for like the first 6 months we were here in that enclosure, in the new enclosure he's in now, I was feeding him in front of this one pothos in the right corner. And then every night he would actually hunt at that pothos with his head down, looking at the pothos.
Because he knew that's where he'd get fed. That's interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but then eventually I feel like I don't feed him a lot, and then I'll see him going to different sides of it, trying to hunt different areas. But he'll go back to the well.
For the most part, that's where he hangs out, though. But, yeah.
That's cool.
And
they're interesting, man.
The glass or anything. That's what I like,
Yeah,
I think they're really
water python or olive python.
Right. Anytime you walk by, they freak out and they strike. So, this one's probably, I still don't want to hold it, but it doesn't, I like that it hangs out when we walk by or whatever.
Yeah. That big pop one male, sometimes he'll get in a pretty shitty mood and I'll walk by and he's just like, dong, dong. But then you pull him out and he's totally mellow, so I don't know. I think it's just a visual thing. Or a territorial thing, I guess, with them. I think it might be a little bit territorial with them. How's your olive? Is it how big is it? What are you keeping it in right now?
Same thing we were keeping it in.
It's not much
Dallas.
bigger than it was, to be honest.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't know if she's gonna stay that size, or I really want to build...
I didn't know it was a female. Okay.
Yeah, it's a female, so it should be bigger, but I want to, and I've been feeding it medium rats, which is pretty decent for how big it is. I would like to do 8 foot for her, and I would have to build it and then do like 4 foots for the Louisiana pines or something.
Space in here.
They would have to go right behind us.
We really
hey, you got the space. Just make it happen, man. Just make it happen.
We have the space as far as
this is supposed to be. That is supposed to be the snake room. In the other room, this is supposed to be the office / barely overflow, and now he's making this a full second.
I feel like if it's just the olive python, that's not a big deal. They need more space anyway, you know.
No, but he's trying to go bigger for the pine snakes too.
Well, I mean, if you've already got the olive python cage there, sit a couple pine snakes cage on top of it. It's not a big deal.
Building up doesn't take any more room.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Although having an olive python like above the olive python will definitely be. Actually, all of them are assholes, so they'll probably all be.
I thought your olive was pretty chill. No, not so much anymore.
No, really chill. It's just if you open the tub, I need to open it from the side.
I gotcha.
Come out like a Jack in the Box, and then after that, chill. But
just that initial opening because she thinks she's getting food.
Yeah, and cool. I just got bit by a popwind python the first time at Eric's. His little popwind bit me.
Really?
Yeah, and after handling it for a while.
Was it one of the nudge bites, or was it like a full, like a defense? Like, did they just get it kind of like rub its face on you and bite, or what happened?
It seemed like a just total reaction. I was talking and I was moving. I was moving it through my hands, but I wasn't putting my hands in front of it. But at some point, it saw a finger and
drilled you.
Decided to check it out.
Joe had bad luck that day. We went to Matt Minatola's first, and he got bit there, and then we went to Eric's, and he got bit at Eric's.
Jeez.
Well, I got bit like his rhino rat. He's like, I don't really trust these things. I don't really know. I'm not going to hold them. So I'm like, I'm going to hold them. And then it did the nudge thing, and then opening its mouth slowly. And
yeah,
I just had to pick it up by the head and be like, go. Be free.
Those are pretty cool, man. I want to get some of those Barons racers. That's what I'm like. If I get any new colubrids, it's gonna be Barons racers, dude. For sure. They're really badass. I like them a lot.
I need to stop creating different lists because those were on the list like a year ago. And they need to stay on top of the list.
I think that they should, man. I think that I don't know. I like the green ones. I like the blue. I like them all. How they're all. Even the brown ones are cool. You know.
Well, the brown ones now are the rarest because no one actually wanted to work with them at the beginning.
Honestly, I probably get the blue ones just because they're blue.
Oh,
you know.
Are you fucking kidding me? Of course you're gonna go with the blue ones.
Yeah. But I wouldn't get the green. I don't think it would either be the brown or the blue. If I had a choice, probably the blue first choice though, for sure. They're so
I want to
cool.
be cool and be like, yeah, you know, blue, whatever. Everyone has blue. Everyone wants blue. I'm gonna go with the brown, but no, the blue is. So...
I would call you out if you said that you wanted the brown ones over the blue ones. What the fuck? No.
If anyone thinks that anything brown is better than anything blue, let alone a fucking snake,
100%. I'm glad you agree with that.
I mean, there's just a simple eye test here.
Yeah,
but I feel like there's so many brown snakes. I'm like, and you judge me for my
Yeah, but those are like you have the option of blue. You don't have the option of a brown. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just on all brown snakes. Like, what does Owen have?
I would love to have a pair of them though.
Oh, she's saying rough scale pythons.
Rough scale, sorry, or black.
Rough earth snakes are like 12 inches long and they eat worms and they're all over the place in my backyard.
I meant rough scales. I think any brown snake is black.
Well, I mean, rough scales, if you have a nuanced eye, you would find them to be a little bit more than
I was not born
just
with a nuanced eye. Excuse me.
I mean, I like rough scales too. I mean, they're cool. I don't quite get the super hype about it, but you know, to each their own. Some people think that poplins are just another brown snake, so.
I think it's just the rarity and the story behind the rough scales, and it's a python with keeled scales.
No, that part's definitely dope. But I'm talking I like their eyes, but like their color and I mean, it's okay, you know. But the keeled scales, that's pretty dope too. I guess like once you feel them, then you kind of can appreciate it a little bit more, you know. But
bull
it's not
snakes
something
are still
that's
cheaper.
I think I want to get. I've got that male bull snake. I think I want to get a hypo female. Because it's taking up space anyway. Why don't I just get a female and call it a day? Exactly. Yeah. Plus, I like bull snakes a lot, so they just stink. They stink. God dang, they stink.
Yeah, we're sitting in a bunch of pine snake shit right now.
Yeah, I walked in here today, and I was like getting stuff kind of moved around and cleaned up for this, and I was like, the bull snake. I had to clean it.
And it's like almost a different smell.
It is a different smell. It's not almost a different smell. It's definitely, you're like, oh, the bull snake took a shit. Yeah, okay, we're going to clean that.
And it's never like this solid little puppy dog looking shit.
It looks like it's like liquid brown, and then it looks like someone crumpled up a bunch of styrofoam urates on top of it. It's gross, dude.
And sprayed on the wall. And
yeah. They're an interesting animal. I like them, but I've only got one. I'm gonna fix that. I got on king snake last night, and I was like, do they have any hypo bull snakes for sale? Buy one of those.
It's kind of not the time of year. People are pretty probably thin at this point.
You know how it is. You never know though. If you don't look, you just never know.
Oh, especially with colubrids, man. People will be like, some old dude will come out of the woodwork with some amazing animal that you would have never known of, unless it was for fauna or king snake.
So what is your guys' like, I know that you said that you're trying to, like, you want to do more holdbacks. Is there anything that you're wanting to get into, like, on your guys' list right now?
Wow, okay, wait. Sorry, number one, weird timing, because someone in the chat just asked you what your top 5 that you want to get into. Which is very strange timing. But I also, not to really answer that question, but kind of answer that question. We didn't post anything on Instagram last night, but our het palmettos locked last night.
Heck yeah!
And that has been our number one.
Isn't that that's the pair that like jumped out of the? Okay, yeah, I'm tracking now.
And it's like we weren't expecting. We just put them together.
I was like, we're like,
it's not gonna happen. We had given up hope that it was gonna happen this year.
The male can't even see anything else. I'm sure if I put a live mouse in there, he'd fucking shit himself. That's like, he just is so jumpy. And they're F1s, so like I knew off the bat like this
they were gonna be a little jumpy.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we did a happy dance in the snake room yesterday.
That was like the one.
It was so exciting.
Besides the Louisiana pines, that was the one where I'm like, this isn't gonna happen, and I
really want it to happen.
It was.
It's funny because it's like.
And I like how you snuck that in there in a question that had nothing to do with it.
We said what we want to get into. This is technically us getting into the palmettos.
Yeah, I just want a visual palmetto, dude. Like the first time, probably like 2012 or something, I came across it. I'm like, that's an option. Like that can happen. I can get a snake that looks that cool. And so now, like, I know now it's like commonplace, but it's just like a pied ball python.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like that's the nicest ball python. That's like
I'm partial to clowns, but I feel you. I like the
same shit. That's one of the oldest
yeah.
morphs in the book, and it's drastic.
Yeah, it's badass. Yeah.
And anyone can look at it and be like, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't have to be. Anyone who sees a palmetto is like, all right, I've got to admit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're badass, man. That's awesome, man. I'm happy for you guys.
You said you just want a visual corn snake. Palmetto. Does that mean you're only going to keep back one, babe?
that would be stupid.
Okay.
I mean, that's the only thing.
Keep back?
I'm going to probably keep back, I mean, in a perfect world, 1.2.
Okay.
And then I think I just got to be real careful with that male. Either way, I got a het, and I'll be cool with making hets. I don't need to make all visuals, but if some of them are bug-eyed and stuff, I just won't fuck with that at all. Maybe I'll keep some just for funsies. But
the bug-eyed stuff, are you gonna keep or cull?
I think it will end up being a keep, but it will be. The only thing is that all the times that I've been generous and like half gave away snakes in the hopes that no one bred them,
They bred them.
Completely have gone, behind our backs and either sold them to someone else without these same stipulations, or have, so it's like I don't really. It's hard because I don't want to cull them because they're perfectly good snakes besides the fact that they have enlarged eyes. But I also don't want to sell them and create a market for, scratch and dent snakes. I don't think that's what they deserve either.
Yeah.
So even though people are selling them that way, I don't want to sell them that way.
And it's like, I feel like the people we'd want to sell it to is like someone's pet because, but we're not going to sell it for pet price. Is the hard part.
Yeah.
Is I think someone who's their pet, they're most likely not going to sell it again. Someone who has a bunch might sell it again, but like someone,
it would have to be like a kid at a show,
right? That's what I'm thinking is gonna. That's what we're gonna have to reserve it to. But the kid at that show is not gonna want to pay the price for that.
No. We would sell it for a lot less, but we wouldn't. I wouldn't put it out on the table.
Are the hets that you have related?
No, they're actually from two different females that were two visual palmetto females that were outcrossed. Technically, they're related, so they're like the dads.
Okay, so there's a little bit of separation there, though. So that should help a little bit, right?
Yeah, and one's actually like one's a year, or no, maybe they are different males, because one's a year older than the other one, but. I don't know. I think they'll be fine. I don't think, from what it seems like, all the outcrossing in the world
doesn't help.
Isn't gonna solve it, but it may reduce it to a certain. But as far as things that are genetically different, I would say the fact that mine's to a wild caught male is probably.
I didn't realize he's wild caught. Okay, that's cool. That's interesting.
I don't know if it fucking matters, man. I'm gonna be honest, but
yeah.
But I
couldn't hurt. Right?
We did the due diligence, right? And, we'll see what happens.
Okay, so what are you guys wanting to get into other than what you already have?
I like Natita. I like the little I think they're technically now. I think they're just California king snakes, but they are in a different region. They're in the Baja region. And they're basically like brown with a weird little faint, I don't even know how to, creamy stripe down them. And they don't sound very appealing, but they're cool. Another Eastern king snake.
How readily available are they? Not very much.
It's an old dude at a reptile show. Just
right on.
Just like we found some striped goini, which are like Applicote.
I want it so bad. That's it. No, that's what we're doing next. If we do anything, that's what we're doing next.
What do they look like?
Well, like most of them, everyone breeds for like blotched, I think is a mutation, but they're basically orange and black. But most of the time, they're like very tipped out orange and black, checker-ish type of pattern. But these ones that we found at a pet store in North Carolina, like a very normal, not a great pet store, perfectly striped, orange, like black stripe, orange everywhere else. Goini, and
I've only seen like one or two others.
Never seen any that are on par.
That's
with
exactly
those.
What we want, and that's the hard part. Is like people aren't breeding it for what I really like.
I think they come out variable a lot, so it's hard to line breed them. But these ones were perfect stripes, and we want perfect stripes, and
that's what I want next for sure.
I guess there's a few.
But it's like even finding someone to breed them. I liked the ones at the pet store so much that like we made the like random girl who was working there like call the owner. I'd be like, I want to know where they came from, and the owner was just like, I got them at some random like show in North Carolina, and it was to the point that I looked up all the vendors at the show and went through their Facebook pages or their websites to like see who it was, and if they like bred something similar, I messaged them and was like, are you the person who never found it? No idea who bred those, but like I was so determined because the pet store was just overcharging. So, it was way more than they were worth or wanted to pay. I wanted to pay for them. But I wanted to find who bred them, and I still haven't to this day. But they were beautiful.
That's badass.
But let's throw the question back at you.
I don't. Honestly, I want to get a female Amazon. That's probably a tiger of some color phase. I don't know. And then after that, I'd kind of just happy with what I've got right now. I've got enough projects going that I feel like I should just kind of chill and not get more than I can. I've already got, like I said, I've got 4 poplins, countless Morelia, and then Amazons, and I've got Woma pythons and Dumerol's boas, and I've got plenty of projects to keep me busy. And I guess that's the struggle with everybody, right? You with all of us with the sickness is that you see something and you're like, dude, that's badass. I want to get into that. And so I don't see, other than the female Amazon, because I don't like keep and loan anything because it's stupid. And then maybe a hypo bull snake. I don't know. The only other thing that I could think of is I wouldn't mind picking up one more female poplin. So it'd be 2.3. That's the goal by the end of this year is I want 2.3 poplins. But
is there any preference as far as having multiple males like there would?
Only because you want a backup in case a female kills a male. Honestly, that's from anybody that I've talked to. It's pretty much having a backup male is just because of accidents. I don't know that from what I've seen Tony's male do and what I've seen my big male do. I don't think getting them to breed is going to be I don't think getting the males to breed is going to be a difficult thing. It's getting the females to be receptive to them and not try to eat them is going to be the hard thing. You know what I mean? And so you definitely want to have 2 males just for that purpose, just for in case, I guess. And I'm hoping that nothing happens and everything's okay. But I mean, that's not typically the case whenever we're dealing with live animals. Always seems like something's going to happen. So I'm just kind of building the group up so that I can have some shot at success in the future. I'm really enthralled with this species. I love them. It's my favorite thing that I work with. They're just awesome. And I never thought I'd say that after having the bredli and being so enamored with them, but I don't know. I just dig them, man. There's something else, so that's pretty much my main focus. There's been times, and I'm not doing this, but there's been times in the last 6 months that I've just thought maybe I should kind of get rid of some stuff and just only do poplin pythons. I don't think I would be sad. You know what I mean? But then I'm I've been working on all these other projects for so long. I don't want to get rid of them either. So kind of at a stalemate with myself. So for the time being, this is what it is. And I don't plan on adding any more Morelia other than stuff that I produce, just because you can't do it all, I would like to get diamonds at some point, but I chose to get inlands instead. And that was, you can't have it all. I can't, I mean, diamonds would probably fit really well into my room because I keep it a little bit cooler, all that stuff. But I don't have the time, man, So
did you breed your corns this year?
They're paired up right now, actually. She's swollen. I think that she's gravid, actually. She's huge. She's I pulled her out. I pulled them both out of the garage so I pull everything out at the same time, all of my Morelia and the corns at the middle of February because they've been down. I put them down in December 1st, and then so they go through December, January, and half of February, and then I bring them in and start warming them up and do the whole feed till they shed and put them together. And she's looking pretty thick right now, so really thick actually. So I'll probably have some success with those this year, which is exciting. I really dig the corn snake thing because you can just put them in a thing and a bin and stick them on top of a cage and don't worry about them.
That's literally what we do.
It's so beautiful.
Put them in a tub, put them on top, and hang out.
That's what I did last year, and it worked out. That Tessera female that I got from you guys, she's putting on some size. She's a little savage, man. She eats like crazy.
I'm kind of pissed because the only one that I made of that, which I think yours is like a fire mask Tessera.
Is it?
I'm pretty confident. And the only other one that I made this year, I accidentally sold. He was supposed to be my well, no, I put him up for sale, and then I decided this is going to be my holdback, and then I forgot that he was for sale, and then someone bought him, and then I had to ship him.
Oh, damn.
So I was like, shit. That would have been a perfect male for you. I'll probably make some more this year, but when that female grows up, I'll send you a male or something.
Right on. We'll work something out, man.
So that we can make something cool, since I have all the ingredients, and now you do too. So
yeah, she's putting on some size. She's eating like hopper ASFs. I mean, she's looking pretty good. Actually, give me a second. We'll do a little.
Yeah, so people don't know, Austin helped us move, and Austin just basically dumped out every single water bowl that we had, like just so the enclosures were ready to go, so that we could pack them up in the car and go.
Super friend status, super high friend status.
Yeah, and then I had like this one egg that was left back out of a double clutch, which I don't go for double clutches, so she laid a couple eggs, and like one of them was fertile or something like that, and
we gave it to
Austin. And Austin hatched it out without a problem, and there it is.
Mm-hmm. She's pretty. I like her a lot.
Oh, I love Tessera so much.
Yeah. So these corn snakes that I have that I produce, I've got the butter stripe female, and then just an male, I guess, that's a het for what. I guess if I'm throwing mottlys, what does that mean? I'm not that great with genetics as far as corn snakes are concerned. So I got a bunch of motley stuff that was male motley and butter motley, and I don't know, does that come from the stripe side, or does that come from the just the male could be het for something? I don't know. Tell me, educate me.
So the butter would be male caramel, which is obviously that female, and then that male. Your male's an male, or is your female an male?
My female's the butter. I'll show you.
Female's the butter.
So your male must be het caramel as well as the stripe is, I believe, like usually associated with the motley gene.
But yeah, they throw a bunch of motleys, and I kept back one of the males from that clutch. It was just an male. It was an male motley, just because it looked really badass. I don't know, it just looked really cool, so I went ahead and kept it.
Everyone wants you to show the bull snakes since you're showing snakes.
And that female, the butter motley is killer that I got from you.
Yeah, she's growing up pretty nice. So he's not the friendliest. So hold on a second, I got to move some shit.
And then this one you found at
my work. I found this at my work when I worked down in Fort Worth. But he just shed out, so he's actually looking pretty good. You see him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's pretty flighty. When I found him, he had a big hole in his back and the end of his tail ripped off. He had been got by a cat, and I nursed him back to health, pretty much. And then he was so habituated that I was just like, well, I don't think I'm going to let you go anywhere. I guess you're going to stay with me for the remainder.
Isn't that the crazy thing? Like, we forget that people used to just do that all the time. And with North American colubrids, you can pretty much just, you found that bull snake, you nursed it up to health, and it ate fine without a problem.
Yeah, it took a little bit. It was just super scared. Like, it was tiny. It was like the size of that Tessera I just showed you when I found it. It was like tiny. And it was pretty sketched out, and it took about a month, and then finally it was like, I guess I'm hungry, so it ate.
And that size is like right out of the egg, so caught it real soon.
Yeah, so it's not mean. It's never bit me or anything. It's very flighty. It's very just whippy around and stuff. It never tries to bite or anything. It doesn't musk or anything like that. It's used to me, I think, enough to where it's just always trying to get away from me. It just I don't hold him a lot, so he just kind of does his thing, and I toss him rats that nobody else will eat. That's pretty much what he gets. Sometimes the Papuan python will turn his nose up to a piece of chicken, and I'll toss it in there, and it eats it, no problem. They'll eat anything, man. That's crazy. They're in straight up garbage disposals. I've put all kinds of different food in front of that snake, and it eats it all. It doesn't. There's no discrimination on diet as far as that snake's concerned.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's turned me off, I think I would have bull snakes if I didn't have the pine snakes, and just the handful that they are. I would say they're different, man. Honestly, I've messed with your pine snakes, and like the behavior of the pine snakes compared to the behavior of this, like the bull snakes I've held and this guy, I think they're a little different. Your pine snakes are a little bit more wily, man. They whip around a little bit more. Yeah, I think bull snakes tend to be a bit more mellow, at least from what I've seen.
I'm so
Which
nervous.
makes me think that like maybe I should get some, but they do get like a little bit too big.
I'm so nervous for our pine snake babies.
Did you? Oh, that's what I meant to ask when you brought that up. What's going on with that? Have you seen a successful lock? What's the deal?
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like you put them together, and then you can just hear them like battling each other the whole time.
Like they're just the corn.
Like don't they? Male, do they bite like the bull snakes do? Do they bite the back of the neck?
That's the weird thing. Mine didn't, even though I know I've seen the other Pituophis do that. Yeah, mine didn't, but they're like rubbed together all the time, and you can just hear the male rubbing on the female. Her
like sandpaper.
Yeah, and doing this whole thing for like hours, and they'll stop for a little while, then they'll go back to it. And then one time when that rustling was going on, I just opened it up and I couldn't see them, but they were still moving around each other and going crazy, and they were locked though.
That's cool, man.
Moving. That's
badass. That's something that we need more of. Honestly, that's some Louisiana pines, man. That's cool. They're really cool looking snakes. I dig them. Hopefully, your babies would be a little bit more laid back.
Right.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. No. But we keep talking like we kind of have bad luck in that area because we can't sell it outside of PA. And the main people who do pine snakes are in PA. So it's like, I know, it's kind of sucky.
There's 3 other guys
there's
here.
3, and they all live in PA.
Doing Louisiana pines?
Yeah.
Damn.
Jay
sucks.
only has really 1 pair, and then Brad probably has like 3 to 5 pairs. I don't know. I'm not 100%
still,
sure.
yeah. Most of the
90%. That's enough for Pennsylvania. It was already a limited market.
Yeah.
So it sucks that we can't sell them across it. And what's the reasoning behind that? Is it just because there's not that many? Like, what's the reasoning behind not selling across state lines?
Well, it's something that's designated to stop people from getting them from the wild and then shipping them out to someone. But it's really something that ends up hurting us, even though we're captively breeding
I feel like
them.
as long as you're not shipping it from where they are in the wild.
Yeah, like who would ship a wild-caught Louisiana pine from Pennsylvania to Texas?
Right. I feel like it's not.
So I went on this trip, and I went down to Louisiana and drove it all the way back to Pennsylvania just to ship it back to Texas. Yeah.
So it's like if there was any way for us to prove that,
like, hey,
this is zoo stock, this is a Vandy Venter animal from the early 90s or something like that. I mean,
there's no I don't get why there
we
isn't.
should be
like, it should be like, hey, we didn't steal it. We're in Pennsylvania.
We should be able to say here, hey, I have this pair. I've had them for this long. I got them from this person. They're U.S. captive born and bred.
We can prove it.
Yeah.
Or U.S. wouldn't mean anything to them.
Yeah, that wouldn't
captive
matter.
born and bred.
That wouldn't matter.
And I mean, they should be tracking them. But that would be so much work to do, to be honest. So I don't see anyone doing that. So they'll just ban them.
It's just easier to ban it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just blanket ban. Call it a day, right?
I mean, which at the end of the day, I guess I get it because there's probably the same issue with many other species, where like there's a ban on it, but there's only like 10 people doing it or who care about it. So like, why are they going to spend their effort on all these little species? But when you're the person who has it, you want it changed.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, it's really whatever. But.
I think it sucks for some things. I mean, like the Indian python, the pink-headed looking Burmese python. It's the Indian python, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that stuff is pretty much killed because of not being able to ship it across state lines, which kind of sucks for the reptile industry because that species is gone. I don't know, but they're not looking at that shit whenever they're making those rules. They're not like, oh. Right. We're gonna kill this animal in the reptile industry because you know what I mean? So
no one's looking to spare reptile keepers' feelings. Yeah. It's a very small minority.
Exactly, and I feel like sometimes we get as keepers get a little caught up in because we all talk to each other and we're so passionate, we forget just how small it is. Yes, we have big shows and stuff, but is there really that many people keeping on a level at which it's part of their life like it is for us? No, there's probably you're talking less than 1% of the population of the United States, I'm sure. So
less
say
than 0.5.
Say 3% own reptiles in general, and then ask that 3% what a popwin python is, and then 0.3% of those people will fucking say something.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Sometimes you got to kind of look at it from a different perspective to understand why that stuff is being legislated the way it is,
right.
Yeah, this isn't the end all be all. The animals in captivity aren't exactly the end goal. They don't want to make sure that they have a captive breeding
quota for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's not important to anybody besides us,
Which, I mean, it seems like it would aid if they were able to regulate it correctly. It would aid in the conservation of species if done correctly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Carly asked if gopher snakes are the smallest of the three.
I thought pines were. Are gophers smaller? I thought pines were smaller than gophers.
Sure.
I don't know.
At least
they all
they're
get
less
pretty
heavy.
Good size.
Less heavy bodied than most of the bulls or pines.
Bull snakes can get massive, insanely huge.
There's a picture, I think it's the snake hunting book by Trumbauer. There's a 10-foot bull snake in West Texas. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, Terry Brewell showed me some pictures of one that he caught out in West Texas when he's working out there, and it was a big snake. I don't know how big. 8 foot maybe. It was big. It was huge. It was comparable to a Brettles python full grown. The damn thing was massive. So.
Yeah, and it's those animals, obviously most in captivity are 4 to 6 feet for reference, but it seems like there's just some crazy populations.
Some granddaddy bull snakes that have been alive for 30 years just kicking it in the wild,
Yeah, they're just super adapted to that climate, I guess, in West Texas, where they can just burrow for most of the time and eat a bunch.
There's a lot of food out there. So something I noticed, and I don't know why I never picked up on this before, but I was watching somebody's video, I can't remember, and I've got a female Woma python. She's really good looking, but she's a real finicky eater, which is super unheard of with Womas. And I was watching this video, and I always have problems with putting the food in front of her face, right? And she's real timid, and she doesn't want to take it. I was watching this video. Well, the dude he put the food in the crook of her neck, or the Woma python that he was feeding's neck, instead of putting it in front of the face for a strike bite.
Turn backwards.
And it just squeezed it and started constricting it without biting it. And so I tried that with my female that's super sketchy, and it worked. And ever since then, she's feeding just fine. As long as I just put it in just right behind her head, she just starts squeezing it. And I'm like, how is this not a hack? How's no one said anything about this before? I guess it's because they're not typically difficult feeders, but I was like, man, that information needs to be out there. So here it is.
You never heard the Woma behind the neck trick?
No, it's weird. Have you heard that before?
Never, not once.
Yeah, it's weird. But and it's not right behind the neck. It's 4 or 5 inches, where the first S curve starts, and they just start constricting it. It's interesting.
I think what the closest thing that we've come to is we had Stu Tennyson talking about gray banded king snakes.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, and maybe it would kind of make sense that they feed on similar stuff, but they feed on mostly lizards out there in West Texas. And he gets success by running it from back past their face. So like they just, as a reaction, are like, I'm going to stop whatever's in back of me because I need to catch this lizard. So he will like go from the back to the front and swipe kind of across their face. And then he'll get a bite response out of that. So
that's interesting. It's just those small little details you got to pay attention to, man. It's you got to watch those small little things and try them out every once in a while, and you might have success, you know? So.
And it's like the amount of experience that you need to accrue to figure it out, even though those people tell you shit.
Things. Yeah.
There'll still be things that I fuck up, and then I'm like, I probably do certain things now that I didn't do a month ago, and I'm sure I do things now that I won't do a few months from now.
Oh, my keeping is completely different than it was 2 years ago. I mean, I run my room a lot cooler than I did 2 years ago. I've had a lot more success with it. I mean, we're always evolving in the way we keep, or at least I feel like if you're doing it right, that's what you're doing. You're changed. I mean, obviously don't fix something if it's not broken, but if you can improve what you're already doing, then why not, you know?
And you're really one of like the first people who I went over is like, oh, you're doing it kind of the old school way in the way of like building all your enclosures, but you're also doing it a better way into the way of like
new school, old school.
Meaning like you don't have substandard cages. You built all really professional grade cages and didn't really sacrifice anything to do so. Unlike, you know, it's just beyond what keeping in tubs was. And it's something to where that made me think like, oh shit, maybe I should start building my own stuff because it still is a useful part of this fucking hobby.
Yeah, I think that building, I feel like I'm in a lot more control whenever I build my own stuff. And I think that's a big thing. I'm kind of a control freak, especially when it comes to my animals. Like I was talking to my buddy the other day, or actually yesterday, and he's not a snake guy at all. And I was telling him, I'm like, man, I'm planning on doing some vacations this year, and I need someone to come and like take care of my snakes. He's not a huge fan of snakes, but he's not like scared of them, you know. He's kind of like, I can leave them or, you know, or take them or leave them. And he's like, well, wouldn't you? He's like, you got reptile friends. Wouldn't you want them to come do it? I said, no. I want someone that can fucking read a list, and I can trust to do exactly what the hell I'm telling them to do on the list. I don't want some dude that's into reptiles like I am that thinks that he can come into my collection and like he knows better than me, because you know I'm sure that would happen. It's almost better to have someone that knows nothing and they can just check the fucking boxes, man. You get what I'm saying? Is that crazy?
No, it's the same thing. Like when you're in basic training, they say that, you know, the people who grew up shooting guns are the hardest people to teach how to shoot guns because they do their own shit already. Yeah, you need someone who's a blank slate that you can build up from the bottom, and
just read the list and do what I tell you to do.
Everyone does that shit differently, though.
Yeah,
everyone.
And I'm just like, I don't need any improvisation. Just come in, do what I said, and then that's it. Like he was asking me, you should have your brother do it. I said, hell no, I'm not having my brother do it. Because he likes snakes, and he's gonna come in here and do shit that is not on the list. It's just, I don't know. But back to the building cages thing, I just think you have more control of what's going on, you know. And I think wood, and depending on what kind of sealant you're using and stuff, it holds heat and humidity really well. I mean, there's a reason why people back in the day had success with wood cages and stuff. And I mean, PVC is nice. It's just expensive. It takes forever to get, you know. And you can build really nice furniture quality stuff. Why wouldn't you? I mean, if it wasn't for my neighbor having a full-on wood shop next to my house, I probably wouldn't do this shit. But I have access to all of these tools, so it doesn't make sense not to do it. And he helps me out. He's a pretty good carpenter. So whenever I'm struggling with something, he'd be like, no, this is how you do it. And he teaches me stuff. So, I mean, you're learning like how to build stuff as well as different things that are better for a specific species. And you can like plug in different stuff. Like the big poplin cage that you guys saw that I have, I'm already going to get rid of it because I'm tired of melamine, and I've found a different way of doing stuff with like a cabinet grade plywood that's a lot lighter, and I've found a nice sealant to use for the inside. And so I'm going to use that front, the glass part of it, and I'm going to build, because I can't have an 8-foot cage, I'm going to do a 6 by 2 by 3, so 3 foot deep, because I can do that. I just don't have the length. I don't have that floor space in my snake room. And so I'm going to build 4 of those high for eventually. Right now I need 2, but eventually I'm going to have 4 of those on that back wall. So
wall o poplins, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be badass. I'm really pumped about it. But and even like I kind of just set the goal this like in November. I was like, look, if I'm gonna do this poplin thing, I need to get a group. I need to get a good sized group, and by the end of this year, I want 2.3. And so whenever that stuff happened, I figured out this was a male and not a female. All of a sudden, just stuff kind of fell into place, and a couple of them popped up for sale. And I was like, so I've got more than I thought I would have at this time in the year already. So really, I only need 1 more to reach my group goal by the end of the year. And so, I mean, it's just, you got to set those goals. If you want to make it a reality, you got to set those goals. So that's the way I feel about it, especially a project like that. And I'm still learning stuff about them every time I come in here, but I mean, they're not going to be reproduced captively if no one's putting groups together and trying, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, you know?
Yeah, and if you guys want to hear more about the poplin stuff, I'm sure we talked about it all like a year ago. I don't even remember what the hell we talked about, but like poplins, you obviously, I think that then, I mean, you only really had the one, but now
yeah, I did
a whole group going on. But I mean, let everyone know how long it takes for you to build up a group like that, and whether it's like the ease of getting them or the lack of ease of getting them, or like just the amount of time they take to grow up.
Well, like, so from what I've read and talked to people, you're not going to get a female to breed earlier than probably 6-7 years. And that's after they like they need that, on top of the fact that you're getting a wild caught animal typically, unless you're real lucky. They need to be acclimated to the way that you run your room, so you can add a whole nother 2 years to that. I mean, depending on the age of the animal. And then they're just not I mean, you don't see them available. Like, and if you do see them available, you better have like a cool grand to just drop, because they're not going to be available for long, you know? So, and when I say a cool grand, yeah, you can find them for, I would say, between $500 and $1,000, but you're also going to be getting in, like, a lot of times you're getting animals that are at $5,000 or $500 that have issues. Like, you're already tacking money on going to the vet. I mean, getting them to where they can be in your collection and thrive, you know? So I would say you can look at per snake at between $800 and $1,000 after vet stuff. And you need to know your stuff about deworming. You need to know how to deal with a wild caught import, you know, and just being ready to pull that trigger when it's available, because they're just, I mean, like 4, maybe 5 times a year, you see someone post one up and they're gone within a day or two. I mean, it doesn't take long. I mean, Kevin posted that female up that I just bought, and yeah, I had it. It was gone. I called him and I was like, "Look, I want it," and it was. I think it was like within 4 or 5 hours of him posting it. I sold it, and me and Tony I talked to him a little bit about it, and he was thinking about maybe getting it, but he's like, "Go ahead, you grab it," and I was like, "Thanks, man." But yeah, because he's got that big male Aristotle. That's an impressive snake, man. His is way larger than my big male.
I think it's funny. It's just funny how both of you guys are in DFW, and it's like really only like of the 5 people who are really working with them are like such a small number, and you guys are right there. And like, especially for Melissa, who wasn't around snakes that much before that, she may think that Papuan pythons are like a normal thing in people's collections because half of our friends had them. But you're like, I don't really care.
It wasn't like a thought.
But I mean, yeah, I really dig them, man. I would be freaking through the moon if I ever got eggs. Like, even if I did, like, they didn't make it and hatch, I would just the fact of getting eggs, because that tells you, hey, you're doing something right, you know. So that would be great. It would be really good. A big thing that I like to do with them is offer them a really big water, like, tub. Essentially, it's a tub that they can get all 10 foot of themselves into it. And the problem the reason I want to trash this cage is because it's only 2 foot deep, and the tub of water that I want to provide them, it takes up so much floor space that they don't have a lot of space to like cruise around and stuff. So I want to give them that depth so I can flip that tub long ways, and they've got a lot more real estate on either side of it. So I think that giving them access to a decent amount of water is important. At least that's what I've seen so far with them.
And is that just because I know the skin can be kind of sensitive? Is that for that?
Well, what I've noticed is that they'll soak like once every month and a half. It's like at a certain point in their shed cycle, they'll just get in the water bowl for a day, and they just sit there, and then they get out, and they go gray after that, and then they shed out. And he's told me he's had a few issues with his shedding. I've only had an issue with mine shedding one time, and it was I soaked her or him. It was a her then. It's a him. I soaked him while he was in the blue, and I think that messed the shed cycle up, because that's the only time I've ever had an issue with it. And I had to like peel all the skin off of the head and stuff, which they're pretty chill, so it's not a big deal. But like stuck eye caps of the whole thing, and the humidity in the room was no different than it normally is. I just kind of thought, hey, let me try something different. I'll toss it in there and see what happens. And it was a huge fail. It was not good, but you know, you just learn little things here and there about that kind of stuff, and don't do it again, right? I've heard the similar thing with emeralds. If you miss them or soak them too much, whenever they're in the blue, they'll do the same thing. And I heard that afterwards, and I was like, oh.
That's what you get for trying too hard, I guess.
Exactly. Sometimes you just fuck with it too much, right?
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid, which is the benign neglect that most snakes want, because they don't need us.
Thank you for bringing in middle school math terms into this.
What?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Oh, I learned that in the military, I think.
Oh, really? I learned it in math, but I don't remember why. We learned like 7th grade math.
Because the whole thing in the Army is that it only goes up to an 8th grade reading level. That's what they make everything to be understood at an 8th grade reading level, which I think for the Marines is 4th grade, for the Navy and maybe 8th and a half grade.
Yeah, it's not too much higher. Trust me, I've met quite a few people that surprise you. I remember when I got in the military, I was like, I didn't know that there are people as dumb as there were. I was like, damn, man.
You had no other option, did you, motherfucker?
Yeah. But, you know, there's all kinds of people, all kinds of places, right? So.
And they fill all kinds of niches. And
exactly.
Sometimes you need some stupid people.
Sometimes you need those people to lug that greasy-ass wire cable across the flight deck. They don't need to read past the 8th grade level, you know?
No, simple task.
Yeah.
So, well, we're already past 2 hours, but
yeah,
which I figured was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I figured too.
But thanks, man. It's been so long.
Yeah. Hell yeah. holler at me whenever you need to fill some time. I'll come on whenever, man.
Yay. Well, tell Katie and all the kitties, even though I'm a little mad at Harper right now, that we say hi.
All right, I will. Y'all take care of yourselves.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, let's get stay with us for a second. Where can people find you?
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram at Ragebeard Reptiles, ragebeardreptiles@gmail.com. Just message me if you have any questions. I don't have anything for sale right now, but hopefully that'll be changing pretty soon. Look, got my fingers crossed for a really good breeding season this year, so we'll keep you guys posted.
For sure. And then Theportcitypythons.com.
Oh, okay.
Stay with us, Austin.
Well, I was going to say, if someone wants to reach out to us, Port City Pythons on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, Theportcitypythons.com. We will see all the
shirts.
Oh.
Like the one Austin
Get these shirts. Get them. It's a badass shirt, man.
There you go. Designed by Riley
West Anderson.
Ooh. Tattoo artist extraordinaire.
When you have 3 names, you got to say all 3.
Especially, yeah, when they go together. He sounds like a horror movie director.
Riley West Anderson.
Like Quentin Tarantino kind of thing. Yeah, that's funny.
And again, all of our New York people, we'll see you at White Plains. Well, not all, but
yeah. But really check out the shirts, Theportcitypythons.com.
Okay.
Definitely do that.
Thank you, Austin, and we will see you guys next Monday.
Later, guys.
Right on. Bye, guys.
No.